Hello everybody, Richard here with CRG Games, and I want to do a follow-up video to my sorting videos on storing your cards in a box and how are you putting them in here, and then what are you doing with different conditions and in between each individual card. So first thing I do is I grab one of these 3200 count BCW Super Shoes or a 5-row Super Monster box. Generally, if I'm just doing a single standalone set, like I opened a bunch of Aether Revolt, so I'm just going to use a Super Shoe because I don't really need a 5-row. And then after you sort all your cards alphabetically, and you put them in each individual slot, so I've got A, B, C, D, and so on and so forth, you need to put all of the unique cards together. So in this case, we'll see I've got all of the Aegis Automatons, the Aether Chasers, and so on and so forth as they appear alphabetically in the set. And that does include tokens as well. It does not include ad cards and things like mini game cards. Like I generally don't put those in here, but lands, tokens, and regular cards go in. So the next thing you'll do is you want to make sure that these cards are sorted properly, right? So you're going to have, let's say, all of these Aegis Automatons. If you're doing different things with condition, right, these are all near mint. But if you're having, let's say, near mint and LP, you're going to put your near mint cards up front, and let's say your LP cards in the back. Now, if you have foils of both, you're going to have your near mint cards, say your near mint foil. Then you're going to have your LP cards, and then your LP foil. And the reason you put these foils, pretend these are foils, the reason you put these in the back is because when I'm going to thumb through this stack, right, and I know the back is a foil, I can just pull that and separate it, and then pull the rest of the cards just like this. That's the way I do it, and try not to drop them. But that's how I do condition. Better in the front, worse in the back, but I only do near mint and LPs. I really don't find it that profitable to do anything with moderately played and heavily played. It gets a little tricky sometimes when you're grading those cards or conditioning those cards, so I just don't deal with them. But I start mine from the right to left. You don't have to do that. You can do them however you want, as long as you know that they're in alphabetical order, and you can go from there. And not every set is going to have A through Z, right? So some sets will actually skip some letters, so you don't necessarily need 26 for each set dividers, but it definitely helps. Now, dividing each unique card, you don't need to do that. If you're pulling thousands and thousands of cards a week, and you're to the point where you need to get the individual seconds out of your labor, then you need to do that. But until then, you don't. I maybe pull 1,000 cards a week. Yeah, I would say probably about 1,000 cards, maybe a little bit more from various sets. So I don't find it necessary to have a divider between Aegis Automaton and Aeronaut Admiral, because I can quickly find each individual card. Now, when you're doing this and you're thumbing through the cards, you need to be very mindful of your fingernails. Less claw, more paw, right? I think that was from Over the Hedge, and it's very accurate here, because what's going to happen, and you will have undoubtedly probably already done this before, when you're thumbing through these cards, you're going to nick the top of one with your fingernail, and now you've turned a near mint card into a lightly played card, just that quick. So be careful when you're doing that. If you want to do a cheap way of putting something in between each unique card, get a set of penny sleeves, right? The tall penny sleeves, and put ad cards in them, or basic lands if you don't plan on selling those, and you can put those in between. Now, if you want to label each individual one, that's up to you, but I'm not going to go through all of that effort for only a couple thousand cards. Like if I had 100,000 cards, yeah, I would do that. But in this case, I don't, so I don't do that. The next thing is, what do you do with all these empty spaces in the boxes? This is a very common question I get, and there's a lot of things you can do, right? You can put, these little boxes in there. You can put extra cards, things like that. But really, I found that these foam sound deadening panels work really good. And as you can see, I've already cut one. These cut super easily with just a, like a straight razor or an X-Acto knife or utility knife, anything. They just cut super easy. And you want to cut 3 rows. These are 2 inches tall. Cut 3 rows. And you'll end up with these. And if you don't have them, that's what happens, right? And this is always really tricky when they fall over like this, because then they have a tendency to go underneath, and then you're pulling them up, and it's like, holy cow. So grab three rows just like that. You can place them right side up or upside down. It doesn't really matter. And there you go. That's your divider. And then you're always left with these little bits like this. Well, that goes right up there and keeps that from moving around. This is the cheapest way to do it that I have found. The actual dividers that you can get are kind of expensive. These, they're not going to degrade. They sometimes have a little bit of a strong smell, which it dissipates over time. These weren't that bad. You might find that when you get them and you crack the package open, they don't inflate immediately because you got to wait a while. What I did was I actually put them in the bathtub with hot water. They soaked up all the water, expanded, then I wrung them out, and then I put them outside in the sun to dry. And they were done in a few hours, so that was pretty neat. But yeah, that is how I do all of the dividing. That's how I fill all of the empty spots, is with these sound deadening panels. They're super cheap. They come in like big stacks. I think I bought probably 10 or 20 total for maybe 15 or 20 bucks. And each individual panel is going to get you 1, 2, 3, 4 dividers that are, these are 1 foot by 1 foot. So that's going to get you 4 12-inch long dividers for, probably what, $1, maybe 50 cents or something like that. That's the best way to do it. It may actually be a little on the helpful side to go with something slightly taller. These are half the height of a card. But they do just fine. And these BCW Super Shoes have slightly wider rows. So these actually can move back and forth slightly. But if you're using the 5-row Super Shoes, I find that they fit kind of snug and they work really well. I highly recommend doing it this way. And I'll have links to all this stuff in the description. This is, like I said, the BCW Super Shoe. It holds roughly 3,200 cards. Maybe a bit more. If I'm cracking a case, this is what I use, especially if it's only a single set, because a case will fit snugly into this and you'll have little spots left over to where you can actually thumb through the cards, even with dividers. So I hope you guys found this helpful. Links to all this will be in the description. They will be Amazon links. I would appreciate if you would like to support the channel using those Amazon links. It doesn't cost you anything. It means the world to me because it helps me put back into the channel, and I get, like I said, a very small cut from that. If you like the video, go ahead and like it. If you got any suggestions or any more questions, I love answering questions. So if you got questions, throw them in the comments. And if I forget one, call me out. Say, hey, you forgot my question, and I'll answer it. I'll do my best to get you taken care of there. Yeah, and like I said, hope you guys enjoyed. Till next time, I'll catch you later.